So I'm to part 39 of this giant rubber band ball, and I can't find any other type of rubber bands except these ones to place on it. So let me know if you have any other options, but for now, I'm going to keep on placing these. And I placed the entire pile of color rubber bands until I was all out. And then I took the ball outside to mess around with it, and it was snowing, so I just laid on the ball and caught the snow. And I can't even lift it over my head anymore because it weighs like 110 pounds. And then here's me breaking a basketball goal with it. And here it is next to a basketball, and then me standing on it, and let me know if I should keep on doing this. So one day I decided to turn my giant 110-pound rubber band ball into a wrecking ball using my backyard zip line. But first I pushed it onto the storm shelter and ran it off, and then started tying it up. I put it on a ladder and got it hooked to the zip line, and then I tested it out, and it was pretty cool looking. And now it was time to wreck some stuff, starting with this broken piece of furniture. And then I turned it to its side, and it absolutely destroyed it. The drawer was broken, and I thought it was good for one more hit. And it was obliterated. And then I decided to do this trash can. Yeah, let me know what else I should destroy. So one day I decided to fill my storm shelter up with ball pit balls, but first I had to clean it. I swept it up for a minute until it looked like this. It was a little bit better, and then I got the ball pit balls. And I dumped them all in, and it looks like this. So I went in and laid down. It was pretty cool. I threw the balls in the air, and then I started trying to make it into this little hole. I missed, and then got close, and then kept going until I got it. Then I threw it at that hole, chilled a bit, and jumped in. And here's what it looks like with the door shut, just an underground ball pit. Let me know what else I should do. So one day I decided to build one of those Saran wrap tree houses that I keep seeing on TikTok. And I was going to build it in this half put together tree house, and I started by making the floor, and after the floor I was going to do the roof. They would also double as a hammock. I wrapped the Saran wrap around a bunch of times, and it kind of looked like a spider web. And then I got back up there and went around a bunch more to make sure it was strong enough. I then wrapped it around all the corners and started weaving it all the way in. And this first section was pretty strong, so I kept on going, making it even stronger and then branching out. And I kept on going and making a super strong middle section until eventually it looked like this. So I'm now to part 40 of my giant rubber band ball, and I wanted to walk you guys through the entire process. I take it upstairs and into this room where I sit down and place rubber bands. I'm actually running out of the type of rubber bands I can place because these ones are just too tiny and break on me. And these ones are just getting old and I have to untangle them every single time. But no worries, I found this random custom rubber band site on the internet and called them up. Yo, I need your 15-inch rubber bands. I'll place an order for like 25 pounds. And just like that, $200 worth of rubber bands was on the way. But for now, I'm going to place these ones. I put them in a pile and then untied them all and got to placing them. And I placed the entire pile of colored rubber bands until I was all out. And after that, I took it downstairs, which was a struggle, but I got it. And I weighed the ball in at 113 pounds. I then took it to the street to try to pick it up. And I can get it up to here, but it's too heavy to get over my head. So I just laid on it, like if you want me to keep on adding bands. So one day I put my 150-pound rubber band ball back in the zip line to crush this car. And it was just a parts car my dad had laying around, so it wasn't a big deal. Pulled it back and threw it at it. And here's the slow-mo caving in that door. Then we saw a cat, and then I threw it at it again. And missed because we moved the truck, so we moved it again and threw it again. And this time it nailed it. It was a pretty big dent, but I still wanted more, so we did it again. And it knocked over the GoPro. Then we did one last go, and it was like the biggest dent yet. Let me know what else I should smash. So I'm now at a rubber band ball part 41, and my 25 pounds of rubber bands got here, so I took it upstairs along with my giant rubber band ball. I took it all to the room where I placed the bands, and then I threw that in a package and opened it up. And each bag weighed 5 pounds. I dumped them all out, and the bands were pretty good. So I dumped out 10 pounds of bands and got to placing. And it was a lot, so I had my brother help me with this one. And we were going for so long, my phone even cut out because it ran out of storage. But we finished eventually and then took it downstairs. I got it all the way down and then weighed it in at 123 pounds. I took it outside and just look at it next to a wheel and next to my head. And here's my best effort at trying to pick it up. I can barely do it anymore. Let me know what else I should do with this ball. So one day, my brother and his friend had an idea to take all the ball pit balls from my storm shelter and put them all in our friend Joe's office, who's an insurance agent. So we transported them all to the office, and we had to put them all in here. But first, I spun around in the chair a little bit, and then got to pouring, and we poured out all the ball pit balls, and it was completely covered. I set the GoPro up. We shut the lights off and left, and he was supposed to come back in the morning, but he actually ended up coming in at midnight, and here was his reaction.
What the hell is this? No way. You guys got one this time. Next time, it's not gonna happen.
He then messaged me, so I zoomed over there to get his reaction.
What were you doing back here?
What do you mean? I come back all the time.
Here it is, completely covered.
Dylan, you're still recording me?
So one day I rolled my rubber band ball back upstairs because I'm now at part, 42. It weighs like 123 pounds, and I dumped out 3 more bags, which is like 15-ish pounds or something like that, and me and my brother got to placing them. And this was the most amount of bands I've ever placed, so we took a break and took it out to the snow. And I made a snowball, then threw it at it, and then rolled it around in the snow, rolled it over this hill, and then picked it up and dropped it. Then the next day I got back to placing, which was a huge pile that took me a long time to place, but I got it. And the ball was a bit deformed afterwards, but it's okay. It weighs like 139 pounds now, and just look at it next to my head, like if you want me to keep on going. So one day I ordered my own bubble solution to make bubbles and test if that TikTok I saw where the bubbles freeze in the freezing cold really worked. I made the bubbles as big as possible, and I tracked the first one outside, and it went off for a little bit, and then we lost it. So then I just caught this next one and let it freeze on the stick. And it did, and then fell off. It was pretty cool. And so I blew another one and caught it, and then it popped. So I blew another one, caught that one, and then time-lapsed it to freezing. Look at it, and then it fell off. Here's it in the slow-mo. And then I did that hot water thing just for fun. So one day I wanted to freeze a giant 6-foot water balloon in the ice cold. But the hose was frozen, so I tried pouring hot water on it. And when that didn't work, I put it in the hot tub. That got it to thaw out, so I zip-tied the water balloon on and started filling it up. Here it is from the window. We decided to stop it here because we didn't know if too much would make it not freeze. And I struggled to get it off, eventually got it tied, and then here was it at night, kind of frozen. And then the next morning it was solid. I could put my foot on it and even stand on it. So we decided to cut it open. And it was a lot thinner than I thought, so I just smashed it a bunch. Like if I should fill up a bigger one and let it sit for longer. So one day I decided to take my giant 123-pound rubber band ball to the gym. And my friend tried overhead pressing it to start out. And he got it. So then I tried, and I just couldn't do it. And then we saw a scale and decided to weigh it, and it weighed 123. Then I tried benching it and about crushed myself. Then we convinced this other dude in there to try to overhead press it, and he also got it. Then my other friend tried and kind of got it. Then my friend who's 6'7" tried, put it on his knee first, and then also kind of got it. Then I tried again and didn't quite get it, but did a little bit better. Then my friend tried benching it and about crushed himself too, and then got one rep with some stability. And then we had the idea to put it on a treadmill. We put it on and it started rolling backwards. And we got it to just roll on there by itself, and it went all the way to the back and then came off. Then my friend golfed with it. Let me know what else I should do with this giant rubber band ball. So I'm now to rubber band ball part 43, and I got another box of rubber bands. I dumped them out, and these bands are even thicker than the last ones. I then dumped out another bag and got to placing them. And it was way easier to place these bands because they're twice as thick, and I got a lot more done with less time. I finished it up, and then I took it all the way downstairs to weigh it, and it weighed in at 149 pounds. I then took it out to the street to try to pick it up, and just look at it next to my head. It's huge, and I couldn't pick it up. Like if you want me to keep on going. So one day I saw a TikTok where they tested flex tape, and I wanted to test it out for myself, so I got a jug of water, filled it up. I cut a square of flex tape out and then stabbed this thing, which took quite a while, but eventually I got a hole in it, and then I slapped the flex tape on. And it worked pretty well. There was a small leak, but a little bit of rubbing and you got it out. And next I decided to test a 50-pound weight. I put the flex tape on and it couldn't get it, so I decided to move to 45 pounds, and it got it up and held there for quite a while. This is some strong stuff. One day I decided to take 2 gold chains, one fake, one kind of real, flex tape, a giant water balloon, and a giant rubber band ball back to the pawn shop.
Got doubled up in the chains.
Yeah.
I brought the rubber band ball in again. I just wanted you to see how big it is. I don't think we're going to come to an agreement on a price.
Big. Wow.
And I started off with this.
With this giant water balloon. This is pretty special. It can hold a lot of water, and it's really big.
I asked him what he thought he could give me, and he
You ever
said,
filled it up?
Yeah.
he said he'd do 5, but I thought that was way too low, so then I got out.
Genuine flex tape from Phil Swift himself.
It work good?
Yeah.
Is that flex tape strong enough to lift that ball?
And I didn't know, so we decided to test it. We put it on the ball, he picked it up, and it didn't work. So then I got out the 2
Tell me
chains.
what you think each one of them's worth.
He looked at him and said,
This one I think you stole off your curtains.
and then he went and did an acid test on the other one and said it basically it was just gold plated, which is what I thought anyway, so I just kept it, and then I left. Full vid will be on my YouTube. So one day, after destroying a bunch of stuff with my homemade rubber band ball wrecking ball, I got a microwave and decided to go again. And it weighs like 123 pounds now, so it should do more damage. Here it goes. Yeah, I didn't think it was enough damage, so I set it back up and went again. And it did get nailed, but I wanted to hit it one more time. And then I put down this kickball, thinking it would go super far, but it didn't. So then I got out this broken TV that I failed to smash before. And it did that, and completely destroyed the microwave that was holding it up. I walked up to it, and then my brother pulled the door off. Let me know what else we should smash. So one day after filling my storm shelter up with ball pit balls, people kept commenting for me to fill it completely up. So I bought a bunch more ball pit balls and started filling it up with an insane amount. I dumped every single bag in until it looked like this and left a mess of boxes. I then got a run for it and got scared and then went back and jumped in. It was pretty cool and cushioned my fall. And it's just completely full inside and I can bury myself in it. I threw them all in the air and then I went down under all the balls to check it out. And then pop back up. And then I chilled in it with the door shut, and it was kind of cool. So let me know what else I should try or do with my storm shelter. So one day it was rubber band ball part 44, and first I had to get the ball out of the zip line. I got it out, and then I had to carry it all the way upstairs. I made it up, and then I took it to the room where I placed all my bands, and got to place them. I placed the entire pile of like 15 pounds of rubber bands for quite a while until I was done, and I carried it all the way downstairs and weighed it in at like 164 pounds. Then I took it out to the street and just look at it. It's massive. Can't pick it up. I just can kick it. Like if you want me to keep on going. So one day I put my 123-pound rubber band ball back on the zip line to destroy a cabbage, an Xbox, and a giant brick wall. Starting with the Xbox, I pulled back and launched. And it hit it pretty hard, but not hard enough, so I put it back on and hit it again. Here's the slow-mo. There goes my old Minecraft worlds. I put it back up for one final hit, and it got totally toasted. And now it was time for the cabbage. I set it down, and it didn't really do anything, so I threw it at a tree. Then I got out the Lego brick wall and built it up. I made it into like a giant rainbow wall, then went back and threw the band ball at it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. The full video where we smash other stuff is on my YouTube, Dylan Ayres. So one day I wanted to freeze a balloon out in the cold and put food coloring in it like I've seen before on TikTok because it looks really cool. So I put the balloon out there and let it sit. And then I tried to ripstick, but it wasn't really working. So I threw it and then tried to make a snowball, but it was just powder. And I came back the next day and checked on my balloon and tried to do that cool knife cut thing, and it just cut like this. And then all the water started draining out, so I stabbed it quickly and the food coloring didn't really go in it. But I broke it. And then it disappeared in the snow. And then I tried to make a snow angel. So one day, my friend and I went out to this giant snow pile in the middle of a parking lot to build a giant igloo. We got to digging for a long time. He would dig out the hole and I would scrape it out with the big shovel like this. We repeated this process for quite some time until eventually it looked like this. We were starting to make our way in, and it was starting to look like an igloo. And our next goal was trying to make it taller so we could easily dig. And after a lot more time, we got it looking like this, but we still had more to go. It had been over an hour, and we were just throwing snow everywhere. Then we saw this truck drifting in the parking lot, and here's our progress so far. We accidentally put a hole in the roof. Here it is. But it's a pretty big igloo that you can even stand up in. But the sun was coming down, so we had to leave, like if we should keep going. So one day, after freezing a giant water balloon and it being hollow, people wanted me to do it bigger and better. And it was going to get colder, so I'm gonna. I let it fill up for even longer this time. And I was also going to let it sit for even longer. I zip-tied it shut, and then let it sit and came back the next day to check it out. And I could stand on it. It was pretty frozen. We gave it another day, and then came back out again. And the balloon had popped somehow, but the ice was still rock solid, and I could stand on it, kinda. I ripped the balloon off, then pushed it over, and it did that. And I threw the ice, and it was really, really strong. It's pretty thick ice. So one day I got in my giant hamster ball to take it out in the snow and see how it did. And it made a little path. And then I got out to try to jump in it again and failed. So I then ran to this hill and tried to go over it, but failed on that too. So I pushed it over and put more air into it so I could do it better. And I tried again and failed. And then this time I just failed again. But then I went around and fell out in the snow like this. And then I got out and made a snowball. So one day someone commented for me to use hot glue sticks to try to get the dents out like 5-minute crafts. And I'm going to try because I put quite a lot of dents in this car with my rubber band ball. I went to Walmart, got some hot glue sticks, and then went home to fix these dents. The little lighter wasn't big enough, so I got out this blowtorch, stuck it on, and it pulled the metal but didn't work. So I tried again and still failed. Yeah. So I got out the longer sticks with more fire, don't try this at home, and failed, and failed, and failed, and failed again. And then I tried to make a smaller dent with a bat, thinking the dents were too big, but that wasn't the case.
This is indeed cap.
So one day it was snowing and I decided to take my giant hamster ball and get in it. I wanted to see what it was like in the snow and how high I could jump in it from. I got in and rolled around a little bit, ran. Saw a cool tree, did a few more flips, and then pushed it onto the deck. And from there I got in and ramped it off. And after that I ran a little bit more and then got out to see if I could jump in it from different heights. And I missed that one, got that one. And then I positioned the ball even higher and missed, fell backwards, and missed again. So I ran back even further and I still came kind of short. But on this last run, I got it. Let me know what else I should try. So one day after filling my storm shelter entirely up with ball pit balls, we cleaned it up because someone commented to turn it into a cool fort. So I went to Walmart and got a beanbag, some MRE ice cream and egg, and a thing of water to make it kind of survivally. And a bin, and a desk. And then I took it all to the storm shelter and started putting it together. Put the beanbag in, then the desk, which made me laugh for some reason, and then I hung up these lights. Pretty cool. Next, I got the MREs in a bin, set it on the desk, and then filled the water jug up. And the fort was pretty much done to me. Let me know what else you think I should add. Oh, and I also tried one of the MRE ice cream sandwiches. It was pretty good. So one day I rented a one-man bucket lift to drop my 160-pound rubber band ball on top of stuff. And the first time I went up, I just dropped it on nothing to see how it would bounce. And here it was. Bounced pretty high. And remember, don't try this at home. Then we got out this car to smash. Here's the slow-mo. It put a pretty big dent in the roof. Then my dad went up and dropped it on it. And it put another pretty big dent in the roof. Then I moved onto the windshield and completely caved it in. Here's that slow-mo. And then I did it again. Here's an inside perspective. Yeah, the car was pretty crushed. And then I dropped Mentos and Coke. And this one was the best rocket I ever done in my life. Just look at it. Like if I should crush some more stuff. So one day I put my rubber band ball back on the zip line to crush some more stuff. I went to Walmart, got this thing, this lamp, this clock, and this other clock, and this weird picture. I put the lamp together like this, and then I first started with the alarm clock and shut it right off. Then hit it with a baseball bat. And then I did the other clock like this. And after that, we set up the picture of whatever this thing is. And it got crushed. Then we put this thing and put the GoPro inside, and it made a cool looking slow-mo. But there wasn't enough damage, so we did it again. And again. Just look at it, getting smashed. And then I just hit it with a baseball bat. Then hit the lamp. Let me know what else I should smash. So one day I took my giant 140-pound rubber band ball to this hill to roll it down. And there's also a little jump at the bottom made of snow. I rolled it down, and it just kept on going and going, and then hit the jump. And here's a slow-mo replay. Wow. And then it zoomed off into the parking lot and just kept on going. It was going pretty fast, so I ran after it. And it went all the way into a soccer field. So I climbed over and look at the path it made. And it went all the way from there. Part 2 of my Saran wrap treehouse. So I was almost done, and I just kept on going for quite a while, non-stop. And I was leaving the middle undone so I could get on it, but I just had this tiny section to do, and I finished. And then I was ready to go inside the epic treehouse and test it out. I got on, and at first I thought the plastic was going to break, but when I spread myself out, I was chilling. And it was a pretty cool treehouse. Here it is from above, and it's a pretty sturdy thing. And when it's raining, you can just go under it like this. It even holds water. Look. And then it started to thunder. The full video is on my YouTube, by the way, Dylan Ayres. So everyone wanted us to make the snow pile in the parking lot that we made into an igloo even bigger. So we went back the next day with our shovels to do just that, digging out the hole and scraping all the snow out. And while we were digging, we found whatever this is. And keep in mind, I do not recommend you try this at home or anywhere. I'm a trained pro, yo. Anyway, we kept on digging more and more snow out, which was taking a very, very long time. But it was kind of satisfying. And after quite some time, here was our progress. We still had a lot of snow to clear out, and we needed to make it more even. We shoveled out all that snow. And then my friend made a seat, and it was pretty cool. I sat on it. The igloo was starting to come together. We shoveled out some more snow until it was completely finished. And here's the inside. I laid down, poked the ceiling, and then started punching the roof in to destroy it. And then I completely destroyed the whole fort so no one would get hurt in it. And then did a front flip. And here's the aftermath. So one day I decided to take my giant 110-pound rubber band ball back to the abandoned water park that I took it to before to run down this slide back when it was 70 pounds. And last time we did it, people yelled at us, so we had to find the owner this time to get permission. And we found this house. It was right beside the park, so we knocked on the door and no one answered. So we kept looking around until these kids came up. They went and got their older brother, and we asked him, and he said, "A rubber band ball down a slide."
Go ahead, man. All right.
And we thought we were good to go until he said this.
I'm not supposed to be out here.
And we didn't know what he meant by that, but we didn't care because he gave us permission and we were still going to send it. So I carried the ball all the way to the top, and it was pretty cool looking up there. Here's the drone shot. And I decided to do this aluminum foil ball first. I pushed it off and it kept on going and then stopped. Here it is on the drone. So I went out and got it, but then the drone cam picked up on a car driving by. And after that, I heard a bunch of yelling right when I was about to launch the rubber band ball. The full video is on my YouTube, Dylan Ayres. So one day I got a comment saying I should drop my 110-pound rubber band ball on my Saran wrap fort. But it's really heavy, so I got a tarp, tied it up with paracord, and then tried to lift it with a pulley system. And we ended up having to use a truck to get it up because it's too heavy. But we put it on the wrong branch and couldn't get it up from there, so we put it on a different one. Still couldn't get it up from there. But on the third time we got it, and I pulled it onto the fort and cut it open, and it was on there. It made it sag a lot, but I moved it over to here and then threw it off. What else should I try?